This is sort of the way I intend it, for people who have read the gospel and have an appreciation of its beauty and a great deal that's in it, trying to see what kind of human situation that's also involved. Because I feel rather strongly that unless we see that human beings were involved in transmitting God's word, we'll never really understand it. So it's with that notion of trying, after first exposure to John, to do a little detective work and see some of the factors that we've been working here. Now, last night I talked to you a bit about some of the ways these two groups, the children of the great Johannine community, might be reading the gospel and indeed reading it in almost opposite ways. There's a few more topics I'd like to touch on this morning, and then take a little time to sort of bring it to a conclusion. I would agree with the majority opinion that what we're hearing is the opinion of living opponents, and that there are people saying most of these things. But even then, we've got to be careful. Since the author calls them antichrists, children of the devil, false prophets, you can scarcely expect that he's interpreting their opinion with nuance. I don't know anyone engaged in a polemic discussion who ever thinks that his opponents are interpreting him correctly. So that you can take for granted that even if we're hearing the slogans of the opponents, they're probably somewhat taken out of context. They're hardened. They would say, well, you're missing the nuance. So you're paying the price of mirror interpretation. A mirror image is always somewhat backwards, and it never does full justice. So that I realize that. And the very polemics, therefore, mean that you're getting a bit of a distortion. Nevertheless, I'm going to work with you tonight and tomorrow, assuming that we can reconstruct the view of the opponents, the secessionists, with some general sense for what they hold,